Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into the PTA postgame show. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay, here to talk about this brutal loss, 41-24 to the Baltimore Ravens at Lambeau Field. The eyes are getting heavy. We're not quilled up here, Tim, battling whatever the heck is I got brought into my house for the holiday season here. And I don't know how long we'll last this evening, but we'll do the best we can. So diving into some of the important numbers, I think I'd sent that out earlier. The middle eight, the Packers actually won the middle eight, right? So the Ravens win 41-24. The Packers won the middle eight. I think I tweeted it out. This is that Bob Uecker moment where I say, I can't find it. The hell with it, right?
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway. Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Throw it on loop there, Bob. Throw it on loop. So you win the middle eight. Yeah, win the middle eight 10-7. It was just outside of the middle eight, but you guys know the rules there, right? If you're within a minute or two and it's the opening drive of the second half, you kind of count it. Turnover differential, obviously you lost that pretty handily here, Tim, as you had one fumble you lost, which I don't mean to laugh, but when that ball hit Malik Willis in the face, me and Mandy, I looked at Mandy and she put her head down. And I looked back at the TV and I looked back over and she was grinning and I was kind of half grinning. We just started laughing. It's like,
you guys are better than me. I was saying things that my mother wouldn't be proud of when that happened.
This team is just running out of gas. And I got to be real with you guys. I'm going to be 100% honest here, okay? I'm watching this game and Mandy can attest to this. I usually get a little bit – when I get upset, angry, whatever, watching a ball game, I get a little quiet and I'm like trying to, just kind of, what's the answer here? What's the answer to the problem, right? What is going wrong? How do you fix it? Are we doing that? Or we just play calling out of emotion? Or or the veteran step, all that stuff, right? I was comfortable to not like, this looks like a team that's they're just out of gas. And you see multiple players carted off again tonight. And Malik Willis played his ass off. What a great quarterback that dude is going to be for somebody. He goes, down the field and gets you back in the game. And then lo and behold, he throws that out route, grabs the shoulder. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. Again, it's just, Tim, as soon as you shift gears, like, okay, we're going to get over the hump right here.
Yeah.
You hear that, you know what I mean? You can't find them, grind them, right? And you had to go back down a gear. And then Clayton Tune comes in and God love his little heart. He hits Bo Melton right between the numbers, and it bounces to a defender. I'm just like, I don't have any answers. This is just and what's crazy too is we mentioned all that, and we didn't even talk about the real reason you lost this game, and it was a run defense. They ran the ball down your throat. I think I'd messaged to you guys during the game. I said it 1,000 times in my living room very calmly, but I just said, you're just not good enough in the trenches on both sides of the ball. But, you've seen it on defense tonight, man. You're just not good enough in the trenches. And going into this game, Tim, we did talk about in the pregame show, they have the best rushing offense in the league, right? And the last 3 games has been even better than their ranking. Like it was 5.1 yards per carry, I believe, which leads the league. The last 3 games, 5.9, I think it was. But again, I said, but our run defense has been solid all year. When we had to face Jahmyr Gibbs in the Detroit Lions running game, when everybody was saying they're going to run all over us, we shut them down. Chicago Bears run game, we shut them down. So I felt pretty confident. Boy, was I wrong. And they did rise up a little bit in the middle of the game in the second half there early, right? Like they started, and then next thing you know, King Henry's running loose again. So I say all that. I'm going to turn it over to you, get your initial thoughts and takeaways. Everything we mentioned leading up to that point, it truly was the defense that let you down tonight. 41 points to a backup quarterback. And now we're back in that conversation of maybe teams won't hire Jeff Hafley just yet. But when it comes to the run defense, what I kept going back to is what's wrong with the run defense? And I'm thinking you got Carl Brooks in the middle, along with Warren Brinson, Nazir Stackhouse, undrafted free agent. Warren Brinson, a 6th-round pick. Carl Brooks was what, a 4th-round pick, I believe, 5th-round pick maybe. So
in general,
Kobe
Woodard.
Wood, yeah, 6. I think he was a 4th maybe, and maybe the other Carl was a 6th, one of those two. But nonetheless, you don't have a bunch of, like, if you look at the money that's on the field on the interior defensive line, and that's the most important aspect of stopping the run. When you look at the money there, I mean, what do we have on the field? I mean, between 4 guys that rotated at defensive tackle, we probably had $3 million on the field total, so it is what it is, man. Again, that's why I come to the conclusion that, yeah, we just ran out of gas, man. I love to think that we could create some momentum going into the playoffs right now. I'm not going to BS anybody. Right now, it doesn't feel like that. Hopefully they can do that. And I'll be here every step of the way, rooting on the team, watching the game, putting out content. But right now, it just feels like you could see it all over Matt LaFleur's face. And it's why he went forward on that 4th down, which I totally disagree with. But you could tell he's just like, oh, boy, they're going to run the ball down our throat. And in all honesty, that 4th down ended up not mattering as much as I hated him going for it there instead of punting. But that's it. Tim, go ahead and wrap this thing up, and we'll go ahead and end the stream. No,
yeah, right. Let's end the pain early. I couldn't agree with you more, man. I love this defense. I love Jeff Hafley and Coach Covington and what they've been installing. And, to our defense's credit, I mean, we saw guys ball king punching at that ball every opportunity they had to try and create a turnover. And we just couldn't get it done. And we had no answer in the trenches. And like you said, we're thin there. And that's the worst place to be thin, is in the middle of your defensive line, especially against an absolute monster juggernaut like Derrick Henry and that Baltimore O-line for that matter. I guess the silver lining is Derrick Henry did not break the single game rushing record, correct? So at least we're not in the history books on this one. Other than that, it was pretty bad. And but we got to stay positive and look at the silver lining. We got an absolute dog and a gamer in Malik Willis as our backup quarterback here. I don't know, for the next 2 weeks or so, right before it's all said and done and he signs somewhere else. But we should get Jay Money back for the playoffs. We're going to have a game against the Bears more than likely, depending on how this pans out. I'm sure we'll get into that later. But I'm already looking ahead to this last game in Minnesota. How do we leave US Bank Stadium alive and able to and field a team to play in our playoff game this year? That's the big question. A lot of fans, say, oh, you're blaming injuries. Everyone blames injuries. Well, when you're decimated, both sides of the ball, key positions, like you said, you're talking big money players, top tier talent. It's going to have an effect on your football team. I don't care who you are. I don't care how well coached you are, how well prepped you are. It's noticeable when you lose players of that caliber. And I thought this team showed a little bit of heart in this game, but I'm agreeing with the fans and the sentiment that we just kind of looked flat on defense. We looked the piss was not hot tonight, as Matt LaFleur would say. So just a tough loss. The injuries are brutal. Prayers up for Kamal Hadden, a guy that you could see was just absolutely devastated after that brutal leg injury. Someone who worked really hard to play his way onto this roster and be a backup in that cornerback room, which is kind of getting thin itself right now. Losing Nate Hobbs again, that wasn't good. So there's just one injury after another. It's not an excuse. It's part of football. Everyone deals with it. But, the Packers injury report was not looking good going into this game, and it just got worse. And we got to just do the best that we can to stay positive and work with the guys that we have and hope we can steal a playoff win and maybe make a run. But I'm with you, Clay. I'm not feeling super confident right now.
It's going to take one hell of a turnaround to get this team to where you can compete in the playoffs. And I hope I'm wrong. I don't see the answer because those guys aren't walking through that door, man. They're not. Devontae Wyatt is not going to magically heal up next week. Micah Parsons listen, I got to be honest. I've laughed a couple of times. I've seen that Instagram video that's went viral where the guy shows him limping in around a Christmas tree late at night and has a box and he kisses it and sets it under the tree and it says, "Me giving my ACL to Micah Parsons for Christmas," right? It's like, I mean, you lose Micah Parsons, you lose Devontae Wyatt. Guys, those are your two most important pieces on defense. You want to know why you got ran all over tonight. You're missing the two most expensive, two most important pieces there, outside of Rashawn Gary, of course. So Yeah, I thought LVN played pretty good. Somebody was tweeting at me earlier going, LVN's a bust. And I'm like, man, he's been one of the bright spots for me tonight.
Especially in the run game. I mean, you're talking about some of the, the handful of, great run stops we saw. We saw a couple from Carl Brooks, I thought, tonight. And yes, the general, Kobe Wooden, but LVN kind of stood out in a game that was just piss poor against the run. I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I love this no pack no guy in here, and I've already blocked him on X, so unfortunately we can't do anything with him being in here. He's obviously a troll. He's following 3 people and has no followers, so this is obviously a burner account. So we'll just pretend like he doesn't exist. Soder with super, thank you so much. But he says they quit tonight on D. Soder, I can understand how you feel like that, but early in the game when they started running the ball down our throat, I was looking up, going, okay, what's the answer here? And you could just see them getting blown off the ball. And we talked about it in the pregame. Linderbaum, one of the best centers in the game. Ronnie Stanley, an absolute stud, right? And again, who do we have on our defensive line? And I understand LVN's a first-round pick. I got you. I get all that. But, man, you're missing your 2 most important pieces there in the run game. And it was just tough to watch. And then, of course, you started to make an adjustment, and that adjustment worked. And then when it got to the second half, once things kind of, again, man, the interception there, it bounced off Bo Melton's hands. And listen, Bo Melton made a good play catching that ball earlier in the game too. So it wasn't like he just, played horrible all day long.
Yeah.
I got to be real, though. My immediate thought, Tim, was why do we have to throw to Bo Melton right here? Why? He's a backup cornerback playing wide receiver. Why is that the guy? And it was a spacing concept, right? So he was the open guy, of course. But my point was, why is he on the field right now? What are we doing?
Yeah. Where was Agent Zero? I was just for MG on a couple of those. Yeah.
And maybe it's because Wicks, and we've talked about this from time to time, Dontavion Wicks is one of the backup flyers, right? One of the backup F receivers in Matt LaFleur's offense, the motion slot, right? So when you see him go, I think he went down with a concussion. Is that what it was? Wicks left the game?
Yeah, Wicks.
Yeah. So he leaves with a concussion. So now you got to shift to, okay, who's going to be the backup F now, right? And maybe the game plan, I got to go back and watch the tape. Maybe the game plan had Matthew Golden play a more X in this, because I did see Dobbs come off the field a couple times. Although when Dobbs was on the field, he was making plays. I think we'd all agree with that.
For sure.
But again, it's a very casual way to look at that. And I'm talking about myself being a casual in this situation. But I was just like, why does of course the ball gets dropped, it gets tipped and intercepted when we were creating some momentum to try to go down and still a win, a game that we had no business even being in my opinion, at that point. But it kind of irked me that it's okay. Of course, it's Bo Melton. We're throwing to a backup corner right now. Like, what are we doing? So yeah. I guess it had more to do with Wicks leaving the game. Go ahead, though, buddy.
No, I'm thinking the same thing too. Josh Jacobs was probably as healthy as he's been in the last month going into this game, and we didn't see very much of him. And I'm wondering, what your thoughts are. Mm-hmm. Was this just Matt making a load management decision and figuring let's not bang him up anymore? It took him long enough to get to where he's at now. We couldn't really get him going. We tried, some leak looks, short passes. We tried running the ball with him. We just
couldn't Jacobs, right?
Josh Jacobs. Yeah. And then we just kind of didn't see him the rest of the game. And I don't think he injured himself. I think it was probably just a decision to hold him out, right?
I see nothing about an injury, but I thought the same thing. 4 carries for 3 yards, a long of 1, right? And of course they tried to get him in the screen game too. I think Matt realized at a certain point in the game that, all right, yeah, this is not the night. And let's try to get these guys healthy for the playoffs. That's kind of what it felt like to me. Yeah. And now if people want to disagree that was wrong, understandably so. I can understand why you feel like that. But I think that's the only answer I would have there, because you're right. I see no reporting of him getting injured at all. I'll take one little last look here, just scrolling through and see if anybody says anything about it. I don't see anything about Josh Jacobs, an injury or anything. So I imagine that's what it would have to be to only have 4 carries, man. That's wild. So, yeah. Thank you for the super there. Soder's got another one here. Why didn't they go to a 5-man front on D and make Huntley beat you? You can get beat on 5 yards per run, or the bomb getting beat is getting beat. I felt like they made that adjustment, Soder. I've seen a lot of guys in the box, and I felt like that's when they started stopping Henry. But then at the end, again, at that point, it did kind of feel like, you said the D quit tonight. I don't think the guys on the field were like, I ain't playing anymore. I'm just going to go through the motions. I don't think it was any of that. I think the whole coaching staff and everybody was just like, hey, look, what are we doing? What are we doing right now? This game is meaningless, right? I mean, yeah, we got a chance to win the North. If the Bears lose the next 2, we win the next 2, but at what detriment? And I think that's where a lot of fans are really upset is I came to this realization last week, right? Realization is probably the wrong word. I accepted that, you know what, the best thing to probably do is get yourself as healthy as you can to go into playoffs. You remember, Tim, last week I caught a lot of heat because I said, man, I could care less about the Chicago game. Get everybody as healthy as you can, and let's see if we can go on a run in the playoffs. I got a lot of pushback from that, and that's okay. We welcome that. But it kind of feels like that's how Matt approached this in the D. And again, with the defense, though, you just got bullied. I mean, I don't want it to sound like, oh, we wasn't trying or the coaches let their foot off the throttle. No, the defense got their asses kicked tonight. They got pushed around on that football field. And Xavier McKinney looked so angry, dude. There were so many times he got up like, what are we doing? Like, guys, again, it just feels like the team is out of gas, man. It really does. And it sucks because we could rattle off the entire injured reserve list, right? And every team deals with it to a certain extent. But when you got the most important players, again, we were just talking about you got beat in the trenches on both sides of the ball, right? Why couldn't you get the run game going? Well, Zach Tom wasn't playing tonight either. I mean, you're talking about you've got your backup center, right? Your left guard has been a total nightmare for a free agent signing. And we always praise Goot when he makes good signings, and he's got a really good track record of that. But boy, oh boy, does it seem like he whipped on Aaron Banks. It really does. And we've talked about that enough, and I don't mean to pile on. But anyway, thank you for the super there, Soder. I felt like they did make the adjustment. That's why they started slowing it down. But then in the second half, they started showing different personnel and different sets, different splits, and it kind of opened things back up. They were just a better team, man. And again, they were the better team against a bunch of backups. Yeah. I felt like their team was fairly healthy, Tim, other than their starting quarterback. And when you got Derrick Henry running like that against a defense that's patched together because of all the injuries you're dealing with, how much do you actually need the quarterback to do? So, yeah. All right. Thank you for the super, man. Pack Attack with the super. Thank you, buddy. He says, dang it, y'all. Why do I feel more confident with Willis in there? Go back, go. There's a lot of people that probably feel like that, Pack Attack. And it goes back to another comment here earlier, and thank you for that super chat. Right here, Sam, Packer fan, says, Willis has that style where you always feel like you have a chance. And again, that drives coaches crazy, to be honest with you. You want, here's the thing that I was thinking here. When that ball hit him in the face, right? I immediately thought to the pregame show where we were talking about, what does Jordan bring to the table that Willis doesn't, and vice versa. Obviously the mobility, the dynamic, running ability of Malik Willis, Jordan Love does not have, but Willis doesn't have the arm strength to hammer those deep corner routes. He doesn't have, it's not necessarily the arm strength as much as it is the timing, the accuracy, and the arm strength all together. Because he's got a strong arm. He can uncork that thing. But when that ball hit him in the face mask, I was like, that's something that we haven't, that doesn't happen to J Love right there, right? Him and the center probably on the same page, and that's lack of practice reps. And I imagine it was probably on Willis more so than Sean Ryan, because the whole offensive line moved with the snap, right? So it wasn't like Sean Ryan was the only person that moved, if I seen it correctly. So it was Willis. Maybe he didn't give the call, the signal, the sound of, hey, we're checking to something here or whatever. And he just, it was more of a timing-based snap. But again, what the
one that hit him in the face?
Yeah, smacked him right in the face.
He was clean can. He said can, and Sean Ryan snapped the ball to him. So
that's the thing, though, with the timing there, it felt like it was a last second. Okay, the timing's already in place for the snap. If you're going to a silent count, and they may have been in a silent count, I don't know. Right. But to me, it looked like Sean Ryan had already declared for the snap, and then last second he went to the can, the ball smacks him in the face. And that's what I was saying.
So you're saying like he didn't can it at time. Yeah.
Right. Like J-Love probably would have got to it a split second earlier and Sean wouldn't have snapped the ball. And again, who knows? You could be right there, Tim. That's just kind of how it felt to me. That was just one of the rare things or the few things where I'm like, what does Jordan Love bring to the table that Malik doesn't at this point? And over time, Malik would have that. There's no doubt about it.
Sure.
But back to that super chat, saying he had, more confidence in Malik Willis. It's because it does open the field up a lot more with Malik Willis in there. There's no doubt about that. But with Jordan, he's slinging darts, right? And I'm telling you, I think most defensive coordinators would look at, would you rather face Malik Willis or you rather face Jordan Love? You probably rather face Malik Willis because Jordan Love has that complete grab of the offense. With Malik Willis, you didn't see him get into the third read, right? Yeah. It was ball snap, one or maybe two reads, and you've seen him rolling out. And now you're using your legs, that type of thing. But I do think he's going to make a lot of money, man. He looked good tonight. It was fun watching him. And 18 of 21, 288 yards passing, a touchdown, no picks, 1 sack for a loss of 9 yards. He ran the ball 9 times for 60 yards, including 2 touchdowns. Somebody going to pay him some money, Tim.
A couple of dime piece throws from him tonight.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Just absolute gems.
Even the one where he hurt his arm.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good throw, And by the way, Christian Watson, 6 targets, 5 catches, 113 yards and a touchdown. The future looks bright there for me. I seen somebody in the chat said 5 wins next year. I don't know what you're smoking. Like that's insane. Don't if you hop off the train now, don't jump back on later, okay? But yeah, when this team is healthy, they've got some major pieces here. It's just like I said, man, you're trying to overcome a little too much. Thank you for that super chat, Pack Attack. I understand where you come from. Seth Reuter with the super. Does Schneidman have insider info? He said he keeps saying Matt LaFleur coaching for his job. I just don't see that. I don't know, man. To be honest with you, Seth, he has Matt LaFleur on his show, or he used to, right? I'm over the whole is Matt LaFleur coaching for his job thing. I'm to the point where I kind of wish they would fire him just so all of these fans. And it's a very loud, minute, portion of the fan base that's doing this, just so they could kind of see him get scooped up real quick, go somewhere else, and win a crap ton of ball games. But I really don't have anything to add to Schneidman, to be honest with you, man. I've seen him do some weird stuff on X here lately, and it just chaps my ass a little bit, to be honest with you, man. So we'll just leave that one alone. He may have insider info, but I do know this, that a portion of the sports media, they thrive off this, and you'll watch the shows tomorrow. They'll be giddy tomorrow. They're supposedly Packers stations. They'll be giddy. You can just tell like, oh, the numbers are going to be up today because the outrageous fans are going to call in and call for everybody's job. They kind of dig that stuff, right? Obviously, we don't do that here. It's a miserable way to fan, but he may have insider info. I don't know though. I don't think he's coaching for his job though. Now, if you were to try to find Tim, an avenue where he could potentially be fired, the parallel that people keep trying to draw is Ed Policy. Ed Policy's dad was Carmen Policy, right? Carmen Policy was responsible. He wasn't responsible, but he was on staff when they traded Joe Montana from the 49ers. And everybody's like, whoa, that's cold-hearted. They moved on from the face of the franchise for Steve Young, right? He was also a part of the franchise when they moved on from George Seifert as well. So, and George Seifert, obviously had a lot of success out there in San Francisco. That's the only parallel that I see drawn there, that people go, oh, Ed Policy's not going to, he's not going to settle for this, right? So, yeah, that's just, I don't know if that answered the question or not. You got anything to add to that, Tim?
No, I would just say that, Schneidman being an insider is known. We can't speak to the info he has. Saw a couple other comments in the chat too, just saying that maybe Schneidman's just trying to be a voice for the fans that are kind of drumming that or beating that drum, And so we'll see. We won't know until something moves or something happens. But you're right, though. I mean, when you talk about Ed Policy and the precedents and where he's coming from, so it's not completely unrealistic to think that. But I don't think that I don't think there's fire or smoke there just yet.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, at the end of the day, surely Ed Policy's looking up and going, all right, so, I mean, what are we? Clayton Tune was your quarterback trying to win that game.
Right. Right.
With a name like Clayton, I wouldn't trust that cat. I'm just saying, not with the game on the line. So, God love it.
Yeah, and who's the hot head coaching candidate you want to replace Matt LaFleur
right.
with?
That's the other thing. Yeah, which is always
which no one, the Fire LaFleur crowd will never provide you with a replacement.
It's funny. What they typically do is they'll go and they'll look up the team statistics. Okay, who's scoring the most points in the league? All right, who's their offensive coordinator? That's the guy I want. That should get it done, right? Matt LaFleur, that's just anyway. Godsmack AR69 with the super chat. Thank you so much for the generosity there, buddy. He says, I get injuries aren't an excuse, blah, 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 but when you lose all your horses, what do you expect? Last 3 weeks, we've gone from dumpster fire to tire fire to toilet fire. CV looks like a throw rag disaster. CV looking like 7th round pick. That's what he's looking like. And anybody who's dogging, and not that Godsmack's doing this, I don't think he is. Anybody who's dogging him for getting stiff armed by Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's every cornerback in the NFL is getting stiff armed by Derrick Henry like that.
Every cornerback that was watching that game from home tonight were thinking, I'm glad that wasn't me. Because that same thing would have happened.
Or they were thinking, I've been there before. It's happened to me.
He shouldn't be surprised. And they ran the numbers on Derrick Henry. And man, what was he, like one of 3 running backs that had accomplished 200 yards in a game or whatever it was. I think it was 200 yards. 200 yards in a game. One of which was the Juice. Shout out to the Juice. Rest in peace, or rest in whatever, however you feel about the Juice. But it's just weird. Sorry, Tim. It's just weird to see O.J. Simpson's name pop up on the screen, on the telecast. That's right. He did play football. Jeez, Pete.
Yeah, he was a pretty good football player in his day. I've heard
he was a great football player. Actually, a pretty good announcer too, man. It's just a wild. Am I the only one who gets a little bit obsessed with that? You go back and watch the documentaries and stuff on the whole O.J. Simpson thing. Like every year or two, Tim, I would have stopped and go, "What the hell happened there? Let's go back and watch that again. Did that really happen, or was that a dream?" Because I remember being at Mom and Dad's house as a young whippersnapper and watching that white Bronco and going, "What's OJ running for? What's going on here?" You couldn't really process everything. But anyway, back to Godsmack super chat. I'm with you, man, and that's why I was saying watching the game, Godsmack, I wasn't like overly upset or anything. It's just like, man, he said it best. What do you expect? Like, you're out of gas.
Frustrating. It's frustrating. What can you do? It's like, it's not like we didn't know Baltimore was going to come in and run the ball down our throats all day. Like, we
absolutely
were fully expecting that to happen. It's just frustrating when you see, your defense really unable to. What did they have? 1 or 2 drives that didn't result in points? I think we got one stop. We got them off the field.
I think you're right. Yeah. So, again, man, 36 carries, 216 yards, and 4 touchdowns for Derrick Henry.
That's Derrick Henry. He's been a workhorse since high school. The guy's used to getting multiple carries and crossing the century mark more than once in a game. So I'm not totally shocked that he put belt to ass on our boys today, because we were banged up going into this game.
Yeah, and Godsmack, I think you make a good point with CV too, man. I'm not trying to downplay. He did not look good tonight, and that's the thing. He's not a good tackling corner, right? He's a good cover corner. It's essentially what he does. That out route, he got a little bit cooked, but that cheap motion out, it's a good throw and catch there too for the touchdown. And he was, I felt like he played it about as good as he could. And it might as well, if it wasn't a true man coverage call, it might as well have been man some kind of match, because when you get cheat motion, all that momentum, that's why they call it cheat motion, is because you're cheating, getting that running going. The defenders, got to kind of react on the fly. But he had a rough.
We saw that a couple of times today with that, where I was thinking it was man, but it was something else. It had to be a match, or a little bit of sugar pre-snap or something, trying to throw them off, but was not working.
Yeah, thank you for the super, Godsmack. I'm glad to see no unspecial teams in Godsmack's his super chat tonight. Thank you so much.
Wait, Clayton, wait. Before we go to that, can you hold that super chat?
Yeah, man, what you got?
You know what happens when you say his name? He shows up.
Oh, the Juice!
Did somebody say my name or call me?
Who created this on the fly?
That was pretty quick. Wow.
I like the emojis. Hold up, pull that back up, Tim. I need that one. The emojis, for those of you listening on the podcast, we got the Juice in the house tonight. And he did the eye emoji, the knife emoji, the blood drop emoji, the glove emoji, and of course you got to have the football too, man. You got to have the football in there. Football's life. I love that picture they used. Unbelievable, man. Oh, the juice. The juice is loose. Mike with the super chat. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks to everybody hanging out with us, man. It's nice to get in here and try to laugh this off a little bit, man. Y'all always make the losses so much better in the chat. Mike with the super, appreciate you. Says Matt LaFleur made a wise choice. We had a smart choice. No key players. Get healthy and play for a run. It sucks, but it's in my opinion the best option. We are in. And again, Mike, I feel you, man. That's kind of how I see it. Now, I know that's going to piss a lot of fans off that hear me say that, but what's the other option? You know, waste all your bullets in these last 2 weeks, and then next thing you know, you got Clayton Tune marching you into the playoffs. Like, what do we, you know what I mean? What else can you do? So, I
just wonder with all the injuries that we have already, like how much depth we even have left. I mean, we're already seeing starters. We're seeing McKinney and Cooper and these guys running around on special teams. Yeah. I mean, how much depth do we have to be able to sit guys? I would think at least a handful of guys are going to have to go next week.
And then you seen Kamal Hadden, right? Get carted off, man. That was so hard to watch, man. Seeing, tears running down his cheek. Yeah. Just, people think, oh, it's a tough game, blah, blah. And everybody gets all, their bravado up when they see that. And when they see someone else show a little bit of compassion for someone who gets hurt like that. But the reality is Kamal Hadden has no guaranteed money, right? Like, no guaranteed money. Now he's got to pay and, pay the price both physically. And I'm sure there's some stuff that comes out of his pocket to go through rehab, to get ready to go out and try out for the team or another team again next year and try to get this thing going. Like, you just seen your whole dreams, not that they've been completely crushed, but they've been forced back so far, It's just a tough thing to see that. And I immediately think that's somebody's son, that's somebody's brother. I don't know much about Kamal Hadden. He may have a child. He may have a family he's supporting. Maybe his whole family is depending on him to make it. Just a lot of that stuff goes through my mind when I see a player upset like that. But it's tough. But I love the energy you bring in, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. And I think that is probably the best way to handle it, man. Try to get healthy and see if you can catch a little spark, man, in the playoffs, And hopefully I'm not too doom and gloom in here. That wasn't the goal in here, guys. I wasn't wanting to come in here and be like, oh, the season's shot. I owe it to everyone who hears my voice on this show to be honest and give my honest opinion. I'm never going to fake that. And right now it just feels like a team that's running out of fuel, man. Running out of fuel.
You want to hit the postseason on a high note, right? You want to be playing your best ball going into the playoffs, not decimated, banged up, and hoping you can survive week to week. It's tough.
Yeah. And you know what? If you were to look at the positive, you want to get a game like this out of the way, right? This was an ass kicking, boys. We haven't seen LaFleur lose like this much. When was the last time you seen LaFleur lose by almost 20 points?
It's been a while.
I feel like it's been a while. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody could look that up. But anyway, Mike, thank you for the super chat. Maybe that's what we need. Good little ass kicking. And now, all right, reset next week. Try to create some momentum and go into the playoffs and do some damage. So Dark Arts Poker with the super. Thank you so much. Willis on that first touchdown run was ruthless. Looked at the corner on that side of the field on the RPO and said to himself, I can beat him, and did. It's so true, man. So true. Just pulled that ball out of there. And it seemed like they ran it again later on the other touchdown, right? It was
one of the best corners in the National Football League also. Or was that or safety that he looked off? Who came down to try and help? Because Malik cooked him. I'm trying to remember. We'll have to watch the all 22.
Yeah, I had to go back and look at it. But yeah, he did though, man. He just kind of took over the game. It was fun. Yeah. It was fun to watch. I just don't see a scenario. I keep wanting to try to convince myself there's a scenario where Malik Willis will be back next year. I just don't know. And everyone's saying there will be a comp pick. I think we dove into that before, and I couldn't remember what the answer we came up with was, whether you do get a comp pick or not. Because if somebody goes out there and pays him a ton of money, you're going to get a decent comp pick. But other people on Twitter were saying, franchise tag him and trade him. I don't know about that. There's a lot of moving parts there as well, obviously. So, but anyway, I agree with you, Dark Arts Poker. That's That's a hell of a run. Both of those runs were, I believe they were both zone reads, if I remember correctly. I could be misremembering that, though. But thank you for the super. J. Cole with the super. That game was ugly. Had fun at the game, though. So J. Cole was in the house. Appreciate you going out there and representing, man. It looked like the energy was good, Tim, on some of the videos that were getting tweeted out with Malik kind of roaring back, and bringing them back there in that game. It did look like they brung the fire, man, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Lambeau faithful never going to turn on the Packers, man. It's just a tough loss, and we got to just try and move forward, guys. It's all we can do. It was ugly, but it'd be like that sometimes in this league, right, Clay?
Absolutely, it does.
It can't all be pretty.
Thank you for the super, Jay. Appreciate you braving the cold out there, buddy. Soder with the super chat. Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love are fine. Baltimore kicked the ass out of the Packers tonight. I'm just tired of the way the Packers imploded in all the other losses. Gotcha. Yeah, I can understand that. The other losses, like the Bears
one-score games, all those one-score losses we had, yeah.
But the Bears loss last week was one of those. It's like, man, like we just needed one of those 5 players to do their job.
Yeah.
And nobody kind of rose up and did that. And to me, that's a little bit of the momentum that probably carried into this game, along with you. The other thing that nobody's talking about much, it was mentioned before the game, and it's not an excuse, but again, if you see it, you got to say it. You had 6 players, I think, that were questionable for this game that were battling an illness as well, one of which was Sean Ryan. So I immediately thought of that bad snap, whether it was on him or Malik Willis, but I immediately thought of the last time I had the flu or something. Imagine me going out there and bending over, looking between my legs, trying to fire the pigskin on time, and then having a 320-pound defensive tackle smack me in the mouth. You know what I mean? It's like
we saw that on more than one play. Shout out to Jen Wright. I saw her bring it up in the chat earlier. There were multiple high snaps, like the snaps were, and hot snaps too. Did you see that? We were in shotgun a few times, and that ball was coming out quick and hard. Made you a little nervous, but again, we've got a backup right guard playing center right now, basically. It's tough. Absolutely. And like you said, sick on top of it. So I can imagine what that feels like.
Yeah, no doubt. Derek After Dark with the super. That's a scary profile pic there, my man. But without the 7 seed, Matt LaFleur would have missed the playoffs every year since the 21 season. The fire of Matt LaFleur crowd have a point, though, right? See, that whole argument there is just – it doesn't carry any weight with me at all.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Respectfully, I don't mean to disrespect you or anything, but it's if you don't have the 7, you can only play by the rules you got. And if there isn't a 7 seed getting in, then you approach the back half of that season totally different. There's a different sense of urgency. There's a different sense of who's playing and who isn't. Everything this time of the year gets made. I mean, we've seen it with Baltimore, right? Kind of managing their roster and trying to get guys healthy for a potential playoff run as well. Obviously their playoff hopes are they're hanging on by a thread. I think if Pittsburgh wins tomorrow, I believe they're eliminated, if I understood correctly. So, but yeah, that I don't buy into that stuff at all. Again, when I look at a head coach, when you talk about firing a head coach, if a head coach is making the playoffs and he's now Matt LaFleur is probably somewhere around the top 15 all time in winning percentage. I don't understand. I mean, you can fire him. You can do that. Yeah. Who are you going to replace him with that's going to win more games than Matt LaFleur's won? That's the problem with that whole fire Matt LaFleur crowd. And that's just how I look at it. Like, I live down here in Tennessee. Let me give you an example locally here. When I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, I left Kentucky and went to Knoxville, Tennessee when I was 18 years old. Philip Fulmer was the head coach of the University of Tennessee Volunteers. Okay. And I was a Kentucky Wildcat. I was an outsider listening to the fan base in Knoxville talk about this Tennessee Vols football team. They could not stand Philip Fulmer. I moved down there in 2000, right? By 2001, 2000, it was just fire Fulmer. Fulmer had the highest winning percentage of any active coach in college football at that moment. And they ran his ass out of town. And what happened to that program? They hired bum after bum after bum after bum. It was like 3 straight coaches where they sank out of sight. They weren't even they weren't sniffing a top 10 ranking, much less battling for a national championship in which Philip Fulmer won, right? What's the point? Consistency. The only way you're going to win championships consistently is if you're in the playoffs consistently. The only way you're going to be in the playoffs consistently is if you're winning games consistently. And that's what Matt LaFleur does. And it's very rare that you get a game like this where you lose by more than 3 or even 7 or even 3 points, right? So again, if you want to scrap it, now you scrap all your assistants, you scrap everything, you scrap the system, you go out and you hire another head coach, right? And the only argument I get when I bring this point up is they go, well, they did it with LaFleur. Oh, but I thought LaFleur was a bad coach. You see what I'm saying? It's like, and again, look at the law of averages. How many teams change head coaches and they get a good one, right? We see it every year. These teams are just recycling through coaches. And I mean, look at Schottenheimer. They fire Mike McCarthy in Dallas, right? McCarthy was a proven winner. They fire him, and they try to catch lightning in the bottle with Schottenheimer. How are they doing? They get the worst defense in the league, right? And it's just starting at square one again. I mean, look at it with the New York Giants. They fired Coughlin. Coughlin's a perfect example. Now, Coughlin had a couple rings, and that's a little bit different than Matt. There's a lot different than Matt LaFleur. They fired him, and what has happened to them since then? They had 1 year where they made the playoffs. They overpaid Daniel Jones, and everything fell apart. They hired Brian Daboll. Now they run Brian Daboll out of town. And now it's just a constant recycling of trying to find that coach, I don't know. Give you another example here. This is what I think will happen, Derek, and we'll move on. If you fire Matt LaFleur, don't be surprised if you're the Tennessee Titans next year watching Matt LaFleur be this year's Mike Vrabel in a team like New England. That's exactly what happened with Mike Vrabel. He was the hot commodity, making the playoffs with the Titans. Their GM went AWOL, traded A.J. Brown. He got pissed and walked out of the draft room. He got so mad at the general manager for that trade. They fired the GM. Then the next year they fire Mike Vrabel. He goes to New England, and now he's probably going to win Coach of the Year this year. So that's what I would see happening with Matt LaFleur. I think Matt LaFleur is a good mind, a good coach. I think the guys like him. I think they'll play for him. I think there's a good balance there. And people don't like to hear it, but why has the season turned out the way it has? You've got way too many injuries on a team that was already the youngest roster in the league. That's my opinion. So that's why, Tim, I'll let you have it here. That's why if Ed Policy looks at Matt LaFleur like he's not the guy, he's not doing a good enough job, you can bet your sweet ass he's looking over at Goody going, what are we doing with the youngest roster in the league 3 years in a row? Or however many years it is. I guarantee you that conversation is being had as well. So anyway, you got any thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, shout out to the Bears fan in here. We are just recovering now from firing Lovie Smith.
Exactly.
Well said. It's so true.
It's a great point. Great point, man. And thank you for bringing that up. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Fishy Things. Been a member for 4 months. Appreciate you, buddy. Says available free agents, special free agent special incoming. Not yet. Fishy Things. We gotta see if we can catch lightning in the bottle, man. We got to go down with the ship. Me and Tim gonna be playing the violins on this Titanic. You know what I'm saying, man? We're gonna be we'll be the last ones in the water, and then we'll shift gears and get into the off-season stuff. I'm always looking forward to the off-season stuff. I try not to talk about it in season because when I bring it up, I get raked over the coals for that. Well, you're about the off-season. Okay, sorry. I try to do a couple college football pods here for the channel, just going, hey, here's the players to kind of keep an eye on for the upcoming draft. I don't want to hear about draft. Okay, sorry. We'll get back to firing Matt LaFleur here. But appreciate you, Fishy Things. I'm looking forward to it, man. The off-season is one of the more enjoyable times, I think, with the channel. It's the content I enjoy the most, to be honest with you. Stephanie with the super chat. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Pat got belt to rear tonight. Maybe it's what they need. Hey, all of us need a belt to the rear end every now and again, right? Straighten you out. Yeah, and that's what we kind of talked about a second ago, right, Tim? Is like, if you're going to reset and try to create some momentum going into the playoffs, maybe it takes a good head thumping like that to get everybody on track. Maybe we are reading our own press clippings a little bit. We being obviously the players, in my opinion. So I don't think the fans do. If anything, I don't think the fans read them enough. What I'm seeing on my feed is when things are going good, fans are still unhappy. Not all of them, but that loud minority, of course. You got anything you want to add to that, man?
No, it's a true statement. I agree with Stephanie here. Sometimes a good ass whooping is what you need. Kind of set you straight, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Got a Bears fan in here donating, man, with the super chat. It's Dr.
Dr.
Shrimp.
Shrimp.
Paging Dr. Shrimp. Appreciate the super chat. He says, prayers for Micah and love, but I'm glad the rivalry is back. Bear down. Also, do you think the Packers can overcome their injuries in the playoffs? I'm glad the rivalry's back too. I put a tweet out a few weeks ago, Dr. Shrimp. I said, it's funny saying Dr. Shrimp. I don't hopefully I'm not making fun of your name or anything. It's just I put a tweet out and I said one thing and I'm kind of paraphrasing. It was something along the lines of, I'm just glad that the real franchises in the NFC North are back on top. And now the little brothers, the Lions and the Vikings, y'all sit this one out. We're going to show you what this rivalry is all about, right? And that's truly how I feel about it. I've got a lot of Bears fans that I know, and outside of the Bears fans on X, which there's toxic Packer fans too. We've seen it, Tim, right? Every fan base has got them.
Every fan base has them. Yep.
Bears fans are the ones I get along with the most. Second is probably the Vikings, and then third, I'm with you, man. The Lions have sank out of sight with me. I'm like, I never expected. I always thought the Lions fans, man, that sucks that they've been bad that long. I don't want them to be better than the Packers, but man, that really sucks that they're had to deal with that. And then when they got a little bit of success, they are the most ignorant football fan base on the face of the planet, dude. It's wild how they go out of their way to prove their ignorance. But
that's got to be one thing that Packers and Bears fans can agree on. It's Lions fan base is probably the most annoying for sure. Yeah.
And when I put that tweet out, there was a bunch of Bears fans that jumped in there with the handshake emoji, like, "Yep, tell them." Like, yeah, little bros, sit this one out. We're gonna show you how to fight for the North this year. So, obviously, that means the Bears did win the North. So, Dr. Shrimp, congratulations, man, on the North. We'll see if we can try to take it back from y'all next year. And thank you for the mentioning the prayers for Micah and love and all that good stuff. So, yeah, definitely.
Shout out, we found a classy Bears fan. Thanks for stopping by. Like it.
Yeah, he's probably going, where these Packer fans have been, man. The ones I run into are all asshats. Yeah, appreciate the super, though. Jen Wright, been a member for 20 months. Look at that. We just need to get healthy and it'll be okay. Thank you, Jen. I needed that. I really did need that.
Some positivity. I love it.
Yeah, and it's true, man. You can't. Anyone who says, "Oh, every team deals with injuries and it's just an excuse," okay, then go out and stay $70 million under the cap next year and see if you can perform, because that's essentially what you're having to do with the injuries, right? Yep. And the Bears have dealt with it a lot this year too. We had a Bears fan just now. Their defense has been bad most of the year, other than the takeaways, because they've had so many players on IR. And I didn't know that because I don't follow the Bears that closely, other than when we play them going into a week. But, a Bears fan pointed that out, where our defense is finally getting healthy. And I looked in, I'm like, dang, they were pretty banged up early in the year. So they figured out a way to win those close games and stay in contention. But, yeah, I'm with you there, Jen. Just got to get healthy and everything going to be all right. Fishy things with the super. I meant free agent / reinforcements for the playoffs. Got you. I don't.
Any big defensive linemen on the waiver wire right now?
There's just nobody out there, fishy thing. What's crazy is, I heard Michael Lombardi say this before on when he was on the GM Shuffle. He said, everybody thinks they have a 3-tech and nobody truly has a 3-tech. And those 3-techs don't grow on trees. That's what he said. And what he's mean by a 3-tech is that defensive tackle that predominantly plays the B gap opposite your best pass rusher on the edge. And everybody thinks they got one, right? But very few do, is what he said. And now think about our mindset. Well, we got one. We got Devontae White. Do we? There's one way to make sure that you got one. He may be a dog. He may end up next year coming back and being dominant, right? We haven't seen it yet. He hasn't been dominant yet. And the defense is better with him on the field. Don't get me wrong. But the only way to ensure that you got one is just like we did with quarterback, right? When you don't need one, go draft one. When you don't need one, go sign one. And make sure you got that stable full of some dogs at 3-tech. So, unfortunately, fishy things.
They don't grow on trees like cornerbacks, right?
Yeah. Hey, and here's the thing, like that goes really for any position. Like people say, we need to go out and get some offensive linemen. Who? They're all scooped up. The good ones are on teams, right? And we've got some good ones too when we're healthy.
Here we go. Greg Rice, Bates. You can play 3-tech, right? Get Bates on the field.
My favorite tweet tonight during the game when everything was just unraveling before our very eyes. Jacob Morley, I think it was, tweeted out. I think it was Jacob. Tweeted out, can Malik Willis play defensive tackle? I was like, Lord have mercy. That sums up the entire evening for sure, man. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question there, Fishy. Thanks. Thank you for the super, buddy. We appreciate you. And indeed, Dr. Shrimp says, I'm a villain, not a monster.
I love it.
That is good. That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thank you for the super, buddy. And thank you for hanging out with us, man. I will try to go on to, I never comment or anything on Bears post-game shows or Lions post-game shows, but I do like sitting in the background. Like the Lions last night was hilarious. I went back and watched the post-game show last night. Me and Mandy, I was putting a shoe cabinet together for her that she got for Christmas, right? I'm down there pretending like I know what the hell I'm doing. I got the instructions upside down, all that good stuff. And we had that on the background, and yeah. It was funny. I was laughing at their reaction. They were losing their mind. And then, of course, my wife says, your show's better than theirs. And I went, thank you, baby. I appreciate that.
Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you lying to me, but we do appreciate it. Number one Packer fan. We have 45 players active now out of 53. We literally have missing persons on our roster. Need to break out the milk carton, Tim.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Me neither, Coach. Me neither. Let's hit the bar. I can't believe we got this many people in here watching. Thank you all for making us part of your post game. If you would hit that like button and smash that subscribe if you like this type of content. I understand there's a portion of the fan base that don't like this type of post game show. They want heads to roll. That's never what we do here. We always kind of try to bring a logical approach. Talk about
you can't fire your way to a championship, guys. Don't ever forget that.
Let's go through the stats here, Tim. Let's hit the box score real quick, and we'll get everybody out of here. So we held Tyler Huntley 16 of 20, 107 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. We did sack him 1 time. Who was it that got the sack? Do you remember?
Inagmare, was it?
Let's see who got it. We got it right here. Quay Walker got the sack. All right.
Okay.
We got him 1. So obviously the story of the night, if somebody were to say, what happened in that game with the Titans, you'd say Derrick Henry, 36 carries, 216 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, had a long of 30. Did he catch any passes? I don't think he did. No. So just ran the ball down our freaking throat. Tyler Huntley scrambling the ball too. Snoop Huntley with 8 carries for 60 yards. Keaton Mitchell, 9 carries for 31 yards. You see, Tim, that number's a little bit different than Derrick Henry. So they carried the ball. 53 times they ran the ball for 307 yards, 4 touchdowns. So you could just end it right there, right? That's what happened in this game. So essentially, we got a super chat here. Josh Martin with the super. Where has Gary gone? He's been silent for a while. Yeah, Gary too. There was some conversation the other day. I can't remember what show it was I was listening to, but it was some of the beat reporters. It might have been Wildy and Tausch, but they were saying that it seems like he's hurt. He's playing hurt, and his snaps have went down significantly in that regard. But they're not saying he's hurt. They said that when they asked him in the locker room, he said, nope, he's fully healthy. I feel like I'm playing good ball. Well, obviously, going to be toting that company line. He hasn't gotten a sack in a long time. When we started off, it was 4 or 5 weeks into the season, he was leading the league in sacks. And then you start to really unleash Micah, and you let Gary kind of set the edge and play the run a little bit more. Tonight, man, the thing I noticed, Josh, to answer your question, tonight, it wasn't just about him not playing good. Every time I looked up, he wasn't on the field. I'm eager to see what the snap count ends up being there. So, and we did a show earlier this week. I did one solo, and Tim may disagree with it. Guys may completely disagree with it, but looking at the salary cap projection and kind of how the roster is modeled out, I think there's a good chance Gary is not back next year. His cap hit, it just jumps $3 million next year from 25 to 28, but the dead cap attached is an $11 million difference between the dead cap and the cap hit, meaning if you cut him, you could free up $11 million, right? So now you got to do a cost analysis comparison. They're like, okay, you got to say the cost benefit of having Gary on your roster. Is he good enough to say, okay, we're going to eat up an extra $11 million in cap space? Because if you cut him, you can free that up, but you are losing that player entirely. Yeah. I think there's a little bit better chance that they negotiate and he takes a pay cut and he's back next year, but there is a decent shot that he's just cut outright. I think there's very, very little chance that Gary is back on the number that he's on right now. I don't know if you got anything to add to that. I don't know if you got.
I would agree with that take on it at this point. I guess my question is, even with a restructure, would we be able to save what we'd save,
right,
without cut? Compared to the cut, what you're going to say. You get what I'm saying? Like, how much?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think you can really restructure them?
Yeah, I think what you'd be looking at doing is probably converting about $7 or $8 million to signing bonus. Cut that in half. So say it's really just a $4 million signing bonus, and say you can free up about $7 or $8 million against the cap. Now he may not do that. He may know, nope, I want every dime, and then you just cut him out right, and he goes to sign somewhere else. He may, kind of go that route. But yeah, you're right. We'll have time to crunch all those numbers. That's one of the first things we'll dive into as we get into the off season, obviously. But you're right though, Josh. It's something's. To me, it kind of looks like Gary's out of gas. He started the season strong, and he is still our best run defender on the defensive line. I know many people think Enigbare are, but when you look at the run stop rate, the numbers show you that Gary has been the better run defender this season. Now, Enigbare tonight played a damn good game. I'll be really surprised if he doesn't have a high PFF grade, because I felt like Enigbare played really good tonight. I
would agree. I thought he played damn good. I thought LVN played damn good. A few bright spots up in that defensive front that got annihilated tonight. There was some bright spots out there.
Yeah. And again, thank you for the super chat, Josh. We appreciate you, buddy. And then Cannonball John with an update here said, in Malik Willis's interview, felt a tweet, got checked, his arm is okay. Y'all want me to translate that?
He got the shot.
He got the shot.
He got kinesio tape and he got a shot.
I'm probably going to catch some heat for that on Twitter, but I almost didn't hit send. But then I was like, you know what? What the hell? Everything's went wrong anyway. Let's just go ahead and send that out. I'll show you the tweet that I sent out real quick, guys. This is what I fired off. As soon as he left, they said, Malik Willis heading to the back. He didn't go to the blue tent, right, to get checked out there. I just sent this out and said, live look in the tunnel. That's exactly what that was. I tried to find the Varsity Blues one where Billy Bob said, that needle goes towards his leg. I'm going to rip your arms off and beat you to death with them. So, yeah. I think that's what it was, John. I could be wrong, John, but you'll never hear a player say, yeah, I went to the back and had to get a shot, right, Tim? That just doesn't happen. So
he is a G.
But, man, it was as soon as he left, I went, oh, boy. And then I thought, okay.
I just had to laugh. I'm like, man, what's next? What's next? Are the lights going to stop working at Lambeau? And, like, what's next?
Yeah, just ran out of gas. And then my immediate focus went to, okay, protect the football. Let's see if they can get him back on the field as quick as possible. Sure enough, here he comes back down to the tunnel. I yelled from the bathroom. I went in there to take a leak. I yelled to the living room to Mandy. I heard on the TV, Malik Willis coming back down the tunnel. I said, he got the shot. I screamed it, right? And, yeah, he come back. And then, of course, Clayton Tune hits Bo Melton in the chest. And, yeah. Again, I'm not mad at
stick Malik back out there, though, after it.
Right.
After the wheels really came off, it's like, nope, don't even do it. And I'm not sure how thrilled I am about my QB playing with a numb throwing arm.
Yeah.
You're all numbed up. What are you really going to be able to do anyway? So good move to just keep him out of harm's way.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV, but the shot that they always talk about, that Pat McAfee and AJ Hawk and them talk about, I want to say it's a Cordall shot, I think. And it doesn't actually numb. They just say AJ went, oh my God, the pain just disappears. But then when it starts to wear off, holy cow. That's what made me think they probably had to do that pregame, something similar with Malik, and then it started to wear off, and now it's all right.
Okay.
Another shot.
That would make sense after no contact, after a really hard throw. Like he hammered that throw, and he probably that was it.
Yeah. Probably felt like, oh, crap, it wore out. So, yeah. All right, I think we got all the super chats, so we're good there. Yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about the positive, just going through the stats real quick. Christian Watson, 5 catches, 113 yards and a touchdown. He was awesome. Romeo Doubs caught all 3 targets for 62 yards. Had a great game there. Jaden Reed targeted 4 times, 4 catches, 41 yards. Bo Melton was targeted 3 times. He had that one grab for 34 yards. He had the drop, which led to the interception, obviously. Matthew Golden was targeted 3 times. He only had 1 catch for 12 yards. So he did get 3 targets. He got the same amount of targets. The only players that got more targets than Matthew Golden was Jaden Reed, who got 1 more than him, and Christian Watson, who got 3 more than him. So I don't look at that and go, oh, they need to get Matthew Golden the ball more. I mean, if he's open, get him the ball. Yeah. But again, without watching the tape, I don't subscribe to that. We just need to force the ball to Matthew Golden. All you can do is try to put him on the field and put him in a position where we think this is the defense they're going to show, and he should be the first read. Yeah. And then if they don't, they get paid too. If
you're going to compare him to Bo's numbers, let's look at snap counts. Let's look at who out-snapped who, and then you might have a valid argument that the Golden Child should be getting a little bit more snaps here, especially considering obviously it looks like Tay Wicks is in the protocol, so we're down another receiver, right? So
just get him back for the playoffs,
Yep.
Because if it's Wicks on that play with the way Wicks's hands have been this year, I think he makes that grab, and who knows what happens, right? But again, if we had come back and won that game, I wouldn't be in here in the post-game show going, oh, yeah, boys, Super Bowl, baby. I'd be going, man, you eked one out, but that run defense, it just looks like you're not stout enough up front, against the run. You're just not right now. So, Quay Walker, it's Xavier McKinney, 13 tackles, 6 solo. Again, I seen him getting up frustrated all night long. Like there was one time where he came down, filled the gap, made the tackle, and looked up at the guys like, what the hell are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Like, can y'all please help me here? It was like he was the only one flying to the ball. Quay Walker, 12 tackles, 6 solo, and a sack. Edgerrin Cooper, 10 total, 4 solo. And then, of course, Enig Barre, 5 tackles, 3 solo, 2 for a loss. So he had a pretty good game there, obviously. No interceptions for the Packers, no turnovers forced, obviously. And then, of course, Marlon Humphrey had that 1 interception. And, that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. So, again, when you talked about the important stats, the Packers won the middle 8, 10-7, but you lose the turnover differential. I guess that ended up being, 2-0, Tim? I believe it was. 2 turnovers.
Technically, and then we turned it over on downs, too, going for it on 4th. So that's, in my book, that's a turnover as well.
Yeah, I know it is in yours for sure, and there's a lot of people that probably agree with you. What I've been taught with charting and the turnover differential, you do not include that in terms of the percentage. But I understand when you give the ball away on your side of the 50, it really should be considered a turnover, in that regard. So
we had the fumble and the pick for the official turnover.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. So there you go. The fumble, was that the one that hit him in the face mask? It was, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, the snap. Okay. I didn't think we got that one back. So everything's a blur. But
yeah.
Again, that's it, guys. I think we covered it all. I think we hit all the supers. Appreciate everybody with the super chats, and listen, everybody that's hanging out in here too. You guys coming in here and just hanging out for a post game show, man. Greatly appreciate everybody. Like I said, coming in here talking ball with us and all that good stuff. The channel's growing like crazy, even through a tough time like this with all the injuries and stuff. And thank you for that, Joseph. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go take some NyQuil. And I'm going to sleep till about 10 tomorrow. I'm just going to sleep in tomorrow. That's the last thing I said when I walked upstairs before I closed the door to come to the studio. I said, no Victory Monday in the mornings or Victory Sunday in the morning, so I'm just going to sleep in. That's one positive. I shut the door like a little whoop puppy, you know what I mean? Just come upstairs with my shoulders down, So thank you for that, Joseph. Appreciate you, buddy. So, all right. That's it. Tim, you got anything else, man? Anything else at all?
No, just shout out to our viewers, our listeners, man. You guys are the best. I'm sure you can turn on other pods, other live streams, and see everybody screaming at their cameras and trying to figure out how many fingers need to be pointed at which players and who to blame for what and who needs to be fired. Or you can hang out here and just try and be level-headed in a really negative situation and try to work your way out of it, because that's all we can do. We got to just keep our heads up and try and stay positive, move forward, and get ready for a playoff berth, because we have clinched a playoff spot. That is still the main goal of any season, right? Punch your ticket, be one of the 7, give yourself a chance to go on a hot streak, man. We're on a losing streak right now. Maybe we can turn this thing around and get on a heater and go on a run. You never know.
I immediately thought of Bob Uecker in Major League when he said, or not Bob Uecker. It was actually Coach Lou Brown, right? He said, "We won today. If we win today, that'll be 2 in a row. If we win tomorrow, that's a winning streak. It has happened before." So we get this thing turned back around. John in the chat says, "Thank you for the post game show. It was a tough game. I appreciate you swinging through." Packer Doug, thanks for keeping the chat open during the game. Clay, get better. We had a fun group. Yeah, I was kind of keeping up with the chat, man. You guys are awesome in there. We always put the post game show link up early. That way everybody can go in there and use it as an in-game chat. So got Sushi Bagel in the house. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Says go Pack go. Hit the like button. Smash that like button for us if y'all don't care. REI Iron Miner, so I don't know why you would. This show still sucks. REI, as long as I'm a part of this thing, I will always make sure this show sucks. Okay, I promise you that. You have my word. Eric Sutherland with a Go Pack Go, and Coach Lynn always in here. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, Coach. So tough loss. Packers drop here to the Baltimore Ravens at Lambeau Field, 41-24. So the Packers now fall to 9-6-1, while the Ravens improve to 8-8. Sounds like if the Steelers lose tomorrow, then it'll be Ravens-Steelers Week 18 for the whole shebang there. That'd be a lot of fun to watch. And, of course, the Packers, we just got to sit everybody down, get healthy, get ready for the playoffs, see if we can go on a little bit of a run here. So if you guys like this type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon. If you want to support what we do here at PTA, the best way to do so is join our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or you can become a member here on YouTube as well. We have people reach out and say, "Hey, man, I'd like to support what you're doing. What can I do?" Those are the two best ways to do it. And just hang out in the chat and be yourself, man. That's it. So, Tim, appreciate your time, bub.
Thanks for having me, Clay. It gets better later, guys. Keep your head up. It ain't over till it's over, damn it. Let's go.
Every time I got beamed in baseball, my coach would say, "It'll feel better once it quits hurting." There you go. I'm Clayton. That's Tim. It's PTA. Go Pack Go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.